In this video, I want to discuss fasting for menopausal women. As we know, postmenopausal is really the term to use because hitting menopause is just the day that you have hit that benchmark of no cycles for 12 months and now you are postmenopausal. So this is going to be a place where your hormones aren't going to be all over the place. They're going to be more stable. Now, they're very low compared to what they once were when you are of thriving hormonal years, but at least they are balanced in what you have. If you still have ovaries, you're producing some sex hormones, and we can get into all the sex hormones and hormone replacement therapy and all those things in a different video. But for this concept of fasting, you're really going to have to use your intuition, how you're feeling, how well you've slept, your energy level, your hunger level, your stress load. Those are going to be the determining factors of whether or not you should fast or not. Now, there are pros to fasting, which we've covered, the fact that it helps with insulin resistance because you're not eating throughout the day and you're not spiking insulin all the time. You're consolidating that time where you're eating, so you're able to eat a little bit less, and being in a slight caloric deficit will help with weight loss short term. And again, we don't want to go too low as we discussed, but it's helpful to minimize that window for that reason. It's going to help with cognitive function. It's going to help with our gut health. So a lot of pros to it, but we want to make sure that we're in a good hormonal spot. So for you, it's really going to matter how your cortisol is in that moment. If you know that your cortisol is already sky high in the morning, and this is not going to be something that's going to be beneficial. Now, if you have adrenal fatigue and you've got low cortisol, this is actually a method to help improve that because it's going to bump up cortisol. Anytime we're fasting, it's going to put our body in a state of stress, which can be a really good thing if we're in a place to receive it well, but it can work the opposite too. So you don't have a cycle to be navigating around. If you really do want to consider using the lunar phases for cycling, you can do that. And so there will be a printout so you can refer back to that. Or you can just take the month together and you can make your own cycle syncing approach, and you can say, okay, day one is day one of the month, and then we're going to go to the end and we're going to cut it in half. The first half, I'm going to follow my fasting 16-8 method, and then from day 17 or 18 on in my luteal phase or the second half of the month, I'm not going to do fasting. And that's a good way to break it up so you don't get into a place where you're doing it for too long. Now, with that being said, if you are struggling with putting on muscle mass, and I put a slash there, if you're struggling with losing fat, it's very important we prioritize muscle building because, again, that's going to be able to allow you to burn fat efficiently even when you're at rest. Muscle burns fat, fat does not. So if you're really struggling putting on that muscle and maybe even having energy in the gym to build the muscle, to push the weight to build the muscle, you really want to get in enough protein in your 24-hour window. So if you're cutting down your eating window to 8 hours and you're only able to eat 2 meals, maybe 3 in that window, then it's going to be really difficult to bulk eat for a lot of people to hit your protein goals. Now, I myself love eating in bulk. My digestive system does fairly well with bulk meals, but I know a lot of people that do not. So this is where you have to understand your body, know your body, and what your body feels best at doing. And so if you know that a struggle for you is hitting your protein, doing fasting is not going to be best for you. Now, also with that being said, fasting for estrogen purposes, if you're already low estrogen because you're in this hormonal state, in this menopausal state, there's no menopausal woman who has thriving estrogen. It's just not a thing. So we want to do everything naturally we can to maintain some estrogen in our body. And then if you decide you want to go down the path of hormone replacement therapy, then that's your prerogative, and we'll speak to that in a different video. But in terms of lifestyle, doing fasting is going to actually be slightly detrimental to our estrogen. And so it's not only not going to be good for getting in your protein, but it's also going to work a little bit in the negative side of things for hormones. So you really want to consider that. So instead of waking up and doing fasted exercise because you think it's going to burn more calories, when you look at the bigger picture and we want our hormones to be thriving, we want to have enough energy for getting through our workout. We want to have enough protein and enough quality calories to support muscle building for longevity purposes and fat burning purposes and aesthetic purposes. Heck, we all want to look good too. Then it's going to be really difficult to do that if you're fasting. So ideally, you would wake up, you would have just a few days each month when you're feeling on your top game of doing fasting. And this would be, 16 hours, 18 hours. If you want to throw one day in there each month for gut health, you do a 24-hour fast, then fantastic. But you don't have to do that. I would say for most women, during your perimenopausal years, trying to get a 12-hour fast from dinner to the time you wake up and you break your fast, that would be the type of fast that is ideal for overall well-being, feeling good, looking good, thriving, all the things. And then the one-off days where you do a 16 to 24-hour fast when you're feeling on your top game. Now, when you wake up, having 15 grams of protein, you can have more, but minimum 15 to get your day started prior to working out. And then it's really important post-workout to getting 20 grams to 40 grams of protein post-workout within an hour after you're done working out. That would be more of a balanced approach for overall wellness as opposed to just restricting, and then eating 2 meals, maybe 3. So there's all different ways of doing it. Again, some women thrive when they're in perimenopause and menopause from doing fasting half the month, whether that's half and half or that's 2 days followed by 2 days followed by 2 days. You can play around with it, and that's the beauty of this, is it should be different person to person. You should do what feels best for you, and if that means doing some more fasting than what I'm suggesting, then that might be the sweet spot for you. But you have to go off of what your body feels is right, and that's really what it is. So when you are fasting, remember only having those things that are within the fasting realm. So black tea, black coffee, no artificial sweeteners, not even chewing gum with artificial sweeteners. And then when you do break your fast, you want to make sure that you're having something low glycemic, because the longer you fasted, whatever you put in your body is going to be that much more susceptible to spiking your blood sugar versus having a meal and then a couple hours later you have another meal. That same meal that might spike your blood sugar up here after having food in your system a couple hours prior to could spike up here if you've just done a 24-hour fast and had that same meal. Your body is very sensitive blood sugar wise when you've gone an extended period of time without eating. So be very aware of this, and hopefully that was helpful. See you in the next video.